All right, questions?
I have 100,000 questions.
You have 100,000 questions?
I'll try to temper them though. And part of it is my inexperience at being a member of this board. I know we have a deliverable from a subcommittee and we're asked to take it and discuss it and bring a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. My question is really about the process of our conversation and the planning board's ability to take this valuable information that's been provided to us and maybe add to it, and perhaps have an updated version of it we may present to the Board of Commissioners after our discussions if we decide there's additional materials. I'd like to just speak freely, if we can, about what are our options for, in our discussion, if we come up with additions and changes that we agree on, are we best suited to send it back to subcommittee or make those changes ourselves?
Here's the process. First, we received the report from the subcommittee, which we just did. We can have a discussion about that. And the planning board now takes this information from the subcommittee and formulates our own recommendation. We can add to these things, select parts of it. We may agree on some things, disagree on others. Not tonight, because you just got this stuff today. But at the next meeting, we would have a broader discussion about the issues embodied here and where is it that we want to go with the planning board. What recommendation do we want to make to the Board of Commissioners? All the way from option one, which is nothing, to option whatever.
If we were to pick and choose as if it were a menu, that would make sense. What if we kind of want to reframe it?
Yeah,
We would produce another document.
that's what the planning board does.
Okay.
The subcommittee was set up to, so we wouldn't have to spend hours of our collective time.
Sure.
We lay us all off on George and you folks to spend time trying to bring to us the ins and outs of that, which they have now done. We have before us the deliberations of all 5 meetings they had. We have options and the pros and cons of those as they see them. We have a fact sheet that they put together, and then they have considerations for extending the zoning. I mean, you know, where do we go? That's the subcommittee's part. They're now done. They just turned in their report, and I'm going to dissolve that committee and thank them for all the...
May God bless you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of work, and they put in a lot of time. And, you know, but now it's ours. And we have to, then starting next meeting, start fluffing this thing out some. What do we want to do?
So we will, on the fly, inject additional opinions, input, thoughts, and we might say, this is great, let's add some stuff to it.
Hopefully we'll have a better idea.
Okay, well, maybe not better. Hopefully we'll have some idea.
Who knows?
Okay, all right.
But I mean, that's
That
the
helps,
process.
thank you.
And so next meeting, we will begin that process. We may not get to a point. You know, it may take us a little bit.
Sure.
But I think we need to devote a significant amount of time at our next meeting.
Yeah, at the next meeting, we should have let's set aside an hour or so of discussion of this so we can, you know, really get everybody's feeling. I mean, you know, you all see, so these 3 documents that we got tonight, in addition to the 2 we already had, we need to examine those and let, you know, think about those and decide what we want to do with those. You know, we may have a great idea come up here. Jim?
Well, I just wanted to second that idea that we cannot send to the board 5 options.
No.
That's not 5 options. We need to send our recommendation, okay?
We need to make a recommendation.
Yeah.
It may be,
It's tough on us, but it'll be tough on them
Yeah,
if we don't do that.
yeah, well, I mean, it's our responsibility to make a recommendation. I mean, that's what we're here for.
And it's not just the recommendation, it's the fact sheet as well. We're being asked to examine the contents and provide some feedback on that, which is going to be then digested by the Board of Commissioners as well, right?
So, I mean, may the process now begin.
I've got another procedural question. I think one of the things I got from today's meeting is Esther came up and talked about the Farm Bureau and the farm organizations getting information. The Chatham Conservation Plan talked about how they had all their subcommittees and all their information gathered, and they were going to go to the public with it. We had the situation with that 107-acre development where they seemed to do a good job of reaching out to the neighbors, and they took that feedback from the neighbors to make adjustments to that committee based upon the 2 citizens we had in here. I'm sure we're all smart people. Some people are smarter than I am. But at what point do we bring in the public input? I mean, Tony, two meetings ago, brought up things about that gun range that I had never ever considered. And we're what, dozen people going to make a recommendation to the board without any kind of public input? When we did the strategic development plan umpteen years ago, we went around and got input from the community before we made that final recommendation and got the sign off from the county commissioners, the city of Pittsburgh, Siler City, and Goldston.
Well, I think what we need to do is decide something that the planning board needs to get a hold of. And we make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. But one of those recommendations is that there be public involvement in whatever process may occur from there. We're not really equipped to hold public hearings. You know,
I feel like we got good public input at our sessions
Well,
for
we
what
have.
they were. I mean, they were advertised as, you know, public meetings, and, you know, there were some of them that were better attended than others, but I think that there was a lot of exchange during those. You know, to the, you know, it wasn't like you're talking about going out and doing a public meeting, but I think that that's part of the process, and I think that happens next.
We got 2 fellows sitting there on the front row that have endured 2.5 hours of other stuff.
Yeah, but that's because they don't want to go home.
So they can say something, you know, but, and you may. But meanwhile,
Well, I just want to echo what Barbara said. I mean, we had public comment at every one of our meetings.
oh, yeah.
And if we keep saying we need to have public comment, we're never going to get the job done. To say that, though, doesn't mean that it ends there. We make a recommendation to the county commissioners, and then their job will be to do some more public hearings in a more formal way than what we've been doing.
We'll have to make a decision one of these days.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that this is following the exact same process that it did when the open use zoning was proposed. You had a subcommittee that went to the planning board made a recommendation to the board of commissioners, and at that time we scheduled the public meetings. And I think that when the new commissioners came in, they just started over again. So now we're at that point where the planning board will make their discussions and their recommendation, and then that starts the public process.
Yeah, we had a subcommittee and they met around, you know, we did the same thing, yeah.
But just
Tony,
Just a comment and then an observation. I would hope that our agenda, to the extent, Mr. Chairman, you can control that, would be left as much time as possible at our next meeting for this issue, and not have any extraneous stuff, because I think it is time to kind of get to the process of coming to a recommendation to the county commissioner. And then my observation is, I really, new at this, but I do legal stuff all the time. I am in awe of what the committee has done, starting with the blank piece of paper in February. I think they have been sensitive. I think they've been observant, and I, for one, appreciate it. Now, maybe we can improve on it, I don't know. But I think there's a hell of a lot of good work here, and I thank you all for it.
No, let me just say that
They did their job.
some of this was built on stuff the staff did year ago.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Two and two, yeah.
Brian, you want to?
I'll wait. I'll wait for
Don't forget.
I guess to make it clear, we're not going to only discuss those 5 options. I know as a board, we
No.
threw out there a lot of times, ordinance would cover some of the stuff, so maybe that would be something we could look at as well.
There's no limit to what we can discuss and do. We had a subcommittee to get some details, and they did,
Gets us started.
and that gets things started. Now, let's, let's make the next step. But we'll, at the next meeting, we'll devote a significant amount of time to that discussion. You want to say something, Barbara?
No, I'm done. I mean, I
More
was
ways than
done.
one,
Yeah. Sorry.
But do we have some gentlemen that want to say something
Yeah,
at this point?
I was gonna get to that. Any other points here?